Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And we got a special episode today because the Game Awards just happened, and there's a ton to talk about. Xbox revealed some massive exclusive games, as well as some big Xbox Game Pass games. Then there was also some legendary third-party franchises that's returning in some shape or form, and we have an exciting Nintendo surprise as well. There's just a lot to go over here, and I actually have 33 different topics written down. I'll try to cover as much as I possibly can, but at the same time, I don't want to make this video too long. I know your time is important, so we're going to get right into this, starting off with the Game of the Year award. After all, the Game Awards is technically about celebrating the best games of the year, and it was pretty evident last night what was going to win it all. The Last of Us Part 2 pretty much swept most of the awards, and this has brought on a lot of controversy, as you might expect. I mean, this has been going on pretty much all year long. There is a very large crowd that loves this game, but then there's also another large portion that just absolutely hates it. So this is a very polarizing game to say the least, so let me know what you thought of The Last of Us Part 2 winning Game of the Year. Myself, I was rooting for Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I'm not really disappointed. You know, I thought overall the Game Awards was a great event, and it was in my opinion the best Game Awards event that I can remember. It was a little long, but that's kind of typical for Jeff Keighley hosted events, but this year in specific, there was a lot to announce, so let's talk about some of the bigger reveals. And right away, they shocked the internet as the next Smash Bros. Character was revealed, and I don't think anybody, or at least many people, was really expecting this one. I've seen a lot of predictions about who's going to be the next Smash Bros. Character, and I don't remember anybody saying this, but it made it just that much more exciting. Yes, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII is coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate. He's by far one of the most recognizable villains of all time, and his trailer reveal was so well done. Sakurai once again outdid himself, and he actually pretty much created the next meme. There was a pretty graphic part in this trailer where Mario flat out dies. Obviously Mario didn't, but the illusion was pretty insane. And here's the cool thing, he will actually be available sometime this December. Yeah, he's coming this month, and if you like Smash or Final Fantasy, this is going to be awesome. Now also, there's always that joke that Valve can't count to 3, and really they haven't proven they can yet, but they are absolutely infamous for making 2 games in a series, and then fans request a third for years and years, only to be ignored. Well, one such franchise is Left 4 Dead, and it's making a comeback. Kind of. This is actually Back 4 Blood, and it's a spiritual successor created by the developers of Left 4 Dead. The studio Turtle Rock aims to bring back what made Left 4 Dead so special in the first place. And if you recognize that name, Turtle Rock also worked on Evolve. Now that game wasn't particularly all that successful, but they clearly know how to make good multiplayer games, and I think Back 4 Blood has the potential of being a lot more successful. Left 4 Dead is extremely popular, and as long as they do this right, I think this could explode online when it releases. It's not too far away. It's set to release on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC on June 22nd. And if you're on PC, you can play the beta starting next week on December 17th. That was kind of a trend last night though, as there was a couple of games that returned from the dead in some shape or form. Another such game was the Callisto Protocol, and this is a game you're going to want to keep an eye on. Not much is known about it yet other than it had an incredibly spooky trailer, but there's a good chance that this game might have given you some Dead Space vibes. Well, there's a good reason for that, because this is coming from the makers of Dead Space. They're not flat out saying that this is a spiritual successor, but there are some very key similarities between the two, and this is big. It wasn't long ago that I was complaining on this channel about EA not bringing this game back, but here we are, and for Dead Space fans out there, this is huge. This automatically will be one of the most anticipated upcoming games until it releases in 2022. Unfortunately, it's a little ways away, but based off the past, it's going to be worth it. And speaking of that, Xbox had a massive night. It's kind of been a roller coaster week for Xbox. Earlier this week, there was a lot of speculation on what Xbox was going to announce at the Game Awards, and then Aaron Greenberg later on tried to temper expectations by making it sound like it's not going to be as big as last year. And okay, I can understand that because the Xbox Series X and Hellblade 2 was announced last year at the Game Awards. But I have to say, I think the Game Awards this year for Xbox was even better. Early in the event, they revealed the highly rumored Perfect Dark, developed by none other than The Initiative. We've been talking about this game the entire year, and you probably know I'm a big fan of Perfect Dark. I could not be any happier with this announcement. I am absolutely thrilled. We're finally going to see Perfect Dark return. With that said though, pretty much all of the rumors around this game was wrong. It looks like yes, you will be playing as Joanna Dark, it's a first-person shooter, and so far, episodes and seasons has not been mentioned at all. So yeah, nonetheless, what I saw here was, no pun intended, but it was perfect. I mean, this was a perfect reveal. Just the design was incredible with its cyberpunk future, and you get that build up to the Joanna Dark reveal. And that's something that I found interesting. It's like they mixed the original Perfect Dark design with Perfect Dark Zero. She's got that short hair from the original, but it's red similar to Zero. I thought that was a pretty nice touch, and they even did a follow-up video where they talked about bringing back Perfect Dark. It did have some key new details in it and what they're trying to achieve. It sounds like they don't want this to be your typical first-person shooter. They do seem to be doing some cool and innovative things with the movement system, and it almost sounds like that there will be some kind of parkour type abilities that you can use. And that kind of reminds me of something like Mirror's Edge. The main gameplay mechanic though is espionage, as it should be. This is a stealth game, as it should be, and they talked about bringing back cool weapons and gadgets as you would expect from a Perfect Dark game. And that's something special about this Perfect Dark game. I mean, if you think about it, we don't really have that big AAA espionage type game like we used to. Metal Gear Solid has just kind of vanished, that's a thing in the past. Hideo Kojima is no longer with Konami. And then you have Splinter Cell, and for whatever reason, Ubisoft just doesn't seem to want to bring that back, or at least to traditional consoles. So Perfect Dark could fill that void for stealth-based games. They're also talking a lot about the story and the cinematics. So this could be that big story-driven game that Xbox fans have been wanting. This is automatically my most anticipated game now because there's so much talent at the initiative. I have complete confidence this is going to be a great game. You have Daryl Gallagher, which has experience rebooting Tomb Raider, but I didn't know this until last night, but the creative director is the Sunset Overdrive director. That's a big deal because, as I mentioned before, it sounds like they're doing some interesting things with the movement. Honestly, I could probably talk about this game for another 15 minutes, but we do have a lot more to go over, so let's continue on. Xbox did have some other announcements, such as Ark 2. Now, this was an interesting one because they did not say this during the event, and I have no idea why, but Ark 2 got a surprise reveal, and it's an Xbox Series exclusive. Yeah, this is actually an Xbox Series exclusive, though I don't know if it's a full exclusive or if it's timed. We'll have to see how that plays out, and I'll keep you updated on that. This is a big game, though, with a very large fan base. I do want to see their plans with Ark 2. They did post a tweet saying it was a next-gen multiplayer sandbox game. The trailer kind of made it seem like there would be some kind of single-player aspect to it, but it could have just been a cool trailer they put together. I'm definitely curious to see more on that. Another big Xbox announcement, though, was some upcoming Xbox Game Pass games, and I think you're going to absolutely love this. Now, we don't have dates for all of these games yet, but Skyrim will come December 15th, and then you have Neoverse, Killer Queen Black, Cyber Shadow, Among Us, The Medium, and the big one, all of the mainline Yakuza games are heading to Xbox Game Pass. Fans have been asking for it all year, and Sega did it. Yakuza 3, 4, 5, and 6 are heading to Xbox. And actually, 3 through 5 will be available in Xbox Game Pass on January 28th. Yakuza 6 will then come on March 25th. So Xbox Game Pass continues to be the best service, and they're starting off 2021 in a major way. And if you thought the big reveals were over with, you'd be wrong because there was one last surprise. We got a new Mass Effect trailer, and while there was no gameplay, this particular trailer was possibly the biggest reveal of the entire night. That's because it appears Mass Effect will continue on from the original trilogy. You can actually see a returning character, Liara, right at the end of the trailer, or at least that's the assumption right now. Either way, Mass Effect will be going back to the Milky Way instead of Andromeda, and I know Mass Effect fans are excited about that. Obviously, we still need to see who the protagonist will be, but just seeing the returning character is nothing short of exciting. If you've played these games, you know people have come to be attached to some of these characters, and for good reason. The original Mass Effect trilogy is some of the best single-player games of all time. If you missed these games, however, go check out the Trilogy remaster when it releases in 2021. That should get you caught up, and you're going to be in for a wild ride. I mean, really, these games are excellent even to this day. I'm really glad to see BioWare make something like this again. They put up small teasers of both Mass Effect and Dragon Age last night. Now I just hope they turn out to be good games, and I am very hopeful that they will. So that was pretty much most of the massive reveals from the Game Awards, but that's the thing. There's still so much to go over, so I'm going to try and go over the rest as quick as I possibly can. Myst will be making a return to VR out of all places. This is a legendary game and could revitalize it with VR. Then Capcom made a few announcements last night. I was hoping to see more on Resident Evil 8, but we didn't get that. However, they are reviving Ghosts and Goblins for the Nintendo Switch. It will resurrect on February 25th. I never played the original, but I hear good things about this game. I'll probably check that one out, but they also revealed Capcom Stadium Arcade, where you can play 32 retro Capcom games. I'll leave a link below to a list of those games, and hey, if you're excited to play Monster Hunter Rise, there will be a limited time demo sometime in January. The full game doesn't release until March, so you can check that out just a little early if you want next month in January. There were a few PlayStation exclusives here as well. These weren't big AAA games per se, but you do have Fist, which I thought looked interesting, and then there was Seasons. The big one though is Disco Elysium. This is one of the best RPGs in recent memory. If you like Planescape Torment, which is one of the best RPGs ever made, it's kind of similar to that. It's definitely different, but if you're looking for a good RPG, Disco Elysium is coming to the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. It will release in the increasingly busy month of March. They also showed some gameplay for Returnal, and this is a highly anticipated PlayStation 5 exclusive. And I have to say, it looks good. House Marquee has always made good games, but this is their biggest yet, and from what I've seen, I think it looks good. This game could end up surprising quite a few people when it releases on March 19th. Yeah, we got a release date here, and it looks like PlayStation is going to have a busy first half of 2021. Now, Xbox wasn't quite finished yet, as they also revealed the release window for Flight Simulator on consoles. That's coming sometime during the summer. I know there's been a lot of anticipation for that game, and the Xbox Series X gameplay looks gorgeous as you'd expect. They're even bringing Master Chief to Fortnite. Now, I'm not a big fan of Fortnite per se, but I'll say exactly what I said with the Kratos reveal. This is a great way to advertise your games, as it's extremely popular and can bring recognition to these characters and maybe even get some new customers with their new and upcoming games. And speaking of pretty games before, Crimson Desert was announced with some breathtaking visuals, or at least with the landscape. It actually looks like a really good looking MMO with a lot of potential, but the frame rate was just all over the place in this trailer. They're going to have to fix that up, but it does look like a highly ambitious MMO. There was also a few interesting games that I want to highlight just real quick. There was It Takes Two, and this game is developed by Hazelight, the studio behind A Way Out. Obviously, they do good work with co-op games, and it looks like they're going to continue on with that with the very wacky It Takes Two. Now, there was a lot of gameplay happening in that trailer, and I think it looks excellent with a great sense of humor. I'm actually really excited about this one. Also, you have a new Sega dungeon crawler, Endless Dungeon. It has an interesting art style to it, and I like seeing Sega experiment here with new games like this. I really think Sega has returned to form here recently. They've been putting out some good games, and I think Endless Dungeon, it at least looks interesting. I don't know how it'll turn out just yet, but I do think it looks interesting at the very least. Next up, you have a new League of Legends spin-off, Ruined King. There appears to be some turn-based RPG gameplay here. I wasn't expecting that, but League is incredibly popular, and if this is done right, we could end up seeing the next big RPG. There was also a new interesting IP, Century Age of Ashes. It's the next dragon dogfighting game. It kind of reminds me of Panzer Dragoon, and if you like that series, Century Age of Ashes might be your thing. So like I said, there was a lot to go over here, and there's actually some other trailers out there as well, including Scarlet Nexus, Among Us got a new map, there was Evil Dead the game, and just a load of game trailers. I really believe this was probably the best Game Awards that I've seen so far. I mean, yeah, it could have probably been shortened, and I know there's going to be some complaints about who won the Game of the Year, but there were some major reveals here. Perfect Dark is the one I'm most hyped about, but then you also have games like the Callisto Protocol, Mass Effect, the new Smash reveal, and Back 4 Blood. I'm going to go ahead and give this event a 9.5 out of 10. Shorten it just a tad, but an amazing event altogether. Let me know though, what would you rate the Game Awards, and what was your favorite announcement from last night? Anyways, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.